figure out how to get our staff out of the visitor center up at CAAC because there's the tornado things that were happening, and today it's this smokiness. Although our staff is not working outdoors today. But
You're not in it.
Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to figure out how to share my screen and it's just telling me that I'm not unable to. It's showing me this too. That's sort of weird. I'm gonna leave and back.
Did you see my
Oh,
request pop up?
apparently, so, you just have to choose your. No. Well, the sharp hearing is next, so. It's okay, if you're on Zoom, if.
Yeah, it's turned on now. It's sharing's turned on because I can share.
Okay, maybe you can share for me when we get, what is? Oh, I'm sharing. That's me sharing.
Yeah, it's set up so multiple people can share. So, but yeah, that's fine.
Do you see the vision statement? Well,
No, that I don't see. I see the laptop screen.
this is my favorite, this one's my cool.
I'm trying, I'll repeat, just tell me what. You know.
Hi, by the way, Lisa and Lorraine. Or, no, sorry, not Lorraine, Lisa.
Hey.
Now
we can see it, Carolyn.
Okay, great. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. Okay, welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Local Area Advisory Committee. I just want to start with a couple of housekeeping items. The first one is with regard to minutes. We will be doing minutes at each meeting, and then we'll have a chance to review them, and then we will be publishing them. And I want to tell you that I did not do that for the first meeting because I was waiting to get the recording. So I will be getting that recording, viewing it. And for the first meeting, it's going to be great to have the minutes because they're going to have everybody's intro information. So it'll help us get to know each other. So I just want to apologize for not having minutes for this from the last meeting and let you know they are coming and I'm going to take care of it. The second housekeeping item is Design Connect. So just to remind you all, Design Connect is the Cornell studio that we want to grant or to participate with them doing a project that involves evaluating our pedestrian comfort level on Trip Hammer Road. And I think that's kind of a great match for this committee in terms of our interests and what this project I hope will do. And what I found working with other Cornell groups is that primarily our goal is to keep them from trying to build like rainbow bridges.
Right.
Like keep it very on the ground. Like what can we actually do as a municipality? Just keep their feet grounded. At the same time, the creative ideas that come out of it are sometimes really good and unique. So you have to just kind of take the wheat from the chaff or whatever that phrase is. So anyway, there's a meeting set up. And it is going to be on a Sunday at 10 a.m. because one of our people is out of the country and that was just the time zone thing that works. And I just wanted to see if anyone from this committee, it is absolutely optional if you wanted to join that meeting. Or if you want to join later meetings, that's fine. But our initial meeting is going to be Sunday after next, which I believe is the 26th at 10 a.m. And just please send me an email if you would like to participate and I will forward the Google link to you and you can join. I mentioned this meeting yesterday at the Greenway Committee meeting, and actually some of those committee members were interested in joining. So we'll have a mix of the two committees if folks from here want to come in. I know, Lisa, I was going to ask you if you want to attend. I don't know if you can, but it's right up, you have the knowledge. And one of, you'll remember from our kind of previous conversations, one of my main goals for this group is working on the design guidelines for Trip Hammer, and this is kind of a part of that is the pedestrian comfort for those folks. So it definitely fits in with what our agenda items are. So anyone is welcome to attend that meeting. Just send me an email and I will forward the Google link.
Is it strictly Zoom?
Yeah, because I don't even know where they are.
It's okay.
There. And you might want to not come to that meeting. Maybe it's going to be not the most interesting of the meetings and maybe join in later. That's fine too. We'll report.
You'll record.
Oh, I can, yeah, I'll ask them if I can record it. Yeah,
You should be able to, yeah.
sure. I could do that. And then I will, you might want to participate that way. But yeah, I was hoping like one or two of you want to come.
So just so I understand it, we say design guidelines for Trip Hammer. What exactly are we talking about?
So right now, the village has a document called Commercial Low Traffic Design
Right.
Guidelines.
Right.
And it is the Trip Hammer corridor. That is no longer a
Going north.
commercial low traffic area. No, it's this corridor that we're
Right
talking
here?
about right here. It was done so long ago
Uh-huh.
that it was commercial low traffic at the time. So there are no design guidelines relevant right now for this area. And so one of the things I want this group to do is to develop new guidelines. That's hopefully one of our biggest projects that we'll tackle.
Okay, I understand.
And it will,
Yeah, so I've been setting stuff aside because I had the original guidelines, and when Carolyn and I were both on the planning board, actually, we had started to work on standards versus guidelines, because guidelines are lovely, but if anybody's going to blow things up, they do because of the cost sometimes. But what we've discovered is if you're really upfront about what you want, often it's no more expensive to do it that way. It's just afterwards to redo some things or now dig up or plant a tree. It gets to be a big deal, but while the whole place is empty, it's just an ideal time. So we had started work on developing standards for the thing for both CLT, CMT, and high traffic, which is this whole corridor going out past you a little bit.
CLT is right here.
Yeah,
Or CLT.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if do you know where the zones are and all of that?
well, maybe we'll start with that when we get to the second half of our conversation
Yeah.
today, which is gonna be, I was
Yeah.
thinking about what we would want to talk about today, and one of the other primary goals of this group is to foster communication. And I thought to myself, maybe me and Lisa and Mike are throwing around a lot of terms that not everybody is familiar with. There's a lot of code changes that they're working on right now. And let's start disseminating some of that information right here. So that's what I had to ask Lisa and Mike to do a presentation today. So we will. I know neither of them, by the way, I emailed them both to say, hey, can you guys do this presentation? Neither of them emailed me back. So
I emailed you
put it
back
in the
yesterday.
agenda.
You know what?
I put it in the agenda anyway.
I emailed you back yesterday.
When I said warning, I put you in the agenda.
I did too, because now that I'm retired, I just, am not as eager to go onto my computer anymore. But one of the things I would like to back up a little bit is look at your thing, because I realize.
That's our discussion right now. As soon as you finish the introduction.
I need to respond to Google Docs, and I realize that I need a little IT. I'm not familiar with Google Docs.
Okay, so I have this open right now. If you guys want to, our first point of discussion is to edit our vision statement. So I got some excellent feedback from some people, and we're just gonna go through those comments. And we will start with Matt at the top, who asked.
Please share your screen.
Oh, I thought I am sharing. I don't know how to share it here.
I can see it, yeah.
You can.
Okay.
I couldn't get on the internet, but that's okay.
Oh, ask them, they'll tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Jump on, because it'll be much easier if you can read along.
Yeah.
So the first sentence is, the purpose of the Village of Lansing Commercial Area Advisory Committee is to evaluate the current commercial conditions in the village. And Matt asked, how do we evaluate the current commercial conditions using survey data from the comprehensive plan? What else? So do we want to take out the word evaluate and put on monitor?
Well, I mean, you can't know what you want to do unless you know where your baseline, kind of, so.
I don't mind evaluate. Evaluate is, once again, more active than monitor.
I think so too.
Way. I think Carolyn, have answered when I got into a deeper reading of the comprehensive plan, answered my own question with looking at the couple of paragraphs talking about the kind of the elephants in the room, which is the total decline of viability of the Pyramid Mall or whatever, the Ithaca Mall. And also a similar decline in my own observation of what's going on in the Business and Technology Park. When I first moved here in 2019, I used to like to walk over in the park, and sort of entertained myself by keeping track of all the names of the different businesses and wondered what they were and what they did. And now I go over there and none of them are there.
Yeah.
And so this whole idea of working cooperatively with Cornell to, to see what, what they may be thinking about, if anything, or.
So Mike and I tackled this to the best of our abilities about a year ago. We got in touch with Christine Haas, who's in charge of the Business and Tech Park. And we asked her if there were some code changes that would be helpful for them to move more towards the way things are today. When the Business and Tech Park was built, there was a certain model of how people like to do business that is no longer viable 40 years later. And we worked with Cornell. Mike and I met with Christine and one other person from there, and we made a bunch of changes to the restrictions on that with the hope towards helping them move forward into the future. So those code changes have already been made, and maybe Mike, you want to include some of those in your report. But with regard to this, what if we change this to observe, monitor, and evaluate? Okay.
Sure, except that one word is always better than three, so
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm voting for leaving it the way it is.
Okay.
The real question about all of this is, we can write any of this, is how are we going to do it? I mean, that was same with all of the objectives. So, I mean, when I was working and we were doing courses and we were basically we had outcomes that we had to submit. So you want to be sure that whatever you're saying you're going to do, but it's how you do it. And that's not so simple, but I mean, so evaluate, I think it's okay the way it is for now, because this is not how we're going to do it quite. This is just our mission.
Correct.
And so I think it's fine, and I would not add
Okay.
to the list.
I agree.
Okay.
But I do, and enhancements, what, did you have any other changes at the beginning there? Because see, I tried to do this on, like I said, Google Docs, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Emily, what was your change?
Yeah, I think my comments were more just about placing a greater emphasis on business and supporting business, new business, retaining existing business. Like it felt very friendly to creating a safe, vibrant, walkable for the people who live here, which is absolutely critical. But I think just in general, making it more business friendly. So maybe in this second sentence here, putting something about recommend goals, directions, and enhancement to the village in order to create safe, vibrant, walkable, aesthetically pleasing commercial district, and retain and encourage attracting new business to the area.
Okay.
Something like
That
that.
makes a lot of sense to me. Does anyone else have an opinion on that?
I have to see it before I can really absorb it, but yeah, that's fine. I had trouble towards the end of this with meaning, so I had just said, after the word or village commercial districts in order, I just got rid of in order, just create it, just do it. We're not in order to do it. But what I really struggled with, walkable, aesthetically pleasing commercial district for the benefit of the general commercial needs of the village and the public.
That came from Natalie,
Oh, that's a legal.
because she did not want it to seem like we were doing any kind of business favoritism.
Gotcha.
So she added that, but if you don't like it, I mean,
Well, I'm not sure exactly.
Natalie, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is our attorney.
Legal counsel,
Oh,
She's a
Yeah.
village attorney.
and she's wonderful.
But
I usually agree with her, but I didn't quite understand what you were trying to say.
That's what we were doing, to just kind of be very clear that
The
the
benefit of,
general commercial needs, not specific businesses.
okay,
Couldn't it just say the benefit of the village? Or does it have to have the commercial piece in there?
It could
'Cause if
just
you're
say.
benefiting general
village.
commercial of needs of the village and the public, it's just the benefit of the village, right?
often less is more when you're into doing this.
We can do that. We can eliminate the whole last clause and just say for the benefit of the village. Are people happier with that?
yeah,
I am, but I'm not a commercial entity, so, but you are,
The village, it's fine.
because floats all boats, right? I mean.
does, it hits everybody. Okay.
so one of the reasons I was sort of interested in the whole genesis of this committee, you spoke to it last time, as I recall. I'm not sure if I got it all, but I guess I'm concerned, in other words, is there a slant in this committee at all? I mean, we talk about objectivity, but I thought it seems to me like it is looking to attend to the needs of the commercial.
Yeah, that's right in the name.
Provide balance, yeah.
That is right in the name. That is not the slant. That is the objective. But to backstory of how it came about, it was not the businesses coming to us. It was mostly the comprehensive plan committee evaluating the state of the village compared to like when the mall was vibrant, when the business tech park was vibrant, and looking towards that and saying, we want to keep our business community vibrant. Let's make sure we make them a focus and also that they know they're a focus and think about them more proactively than we've been. So the genesis is really from the comprehensive plan committee to the trustees.
I figured as much.
And then we're reaching out to the businesses.
But there is obviously, there's always tensions, like when developers would come to the planning board, that what they want and what the code says, or what we want as a village is in tension often. So, trying to find that balance. But I think one of the things too is the main thing is if we communicate with one another from business to, it's workable. There's always a compromise. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get what you want. We're not going. Yeah, it's a compromise. It always is. But it's the communication thing, I think, getting to who, the people that are doing the business, what their needs are. We don't know what they are. And some of them we can't help you with. Some of it's just what's going on in the world. But for the things that we can, let's do it. I guess that's basically the bottom line, or how I think.
Put in for the suggestion when we get to it, under will, something about supporting current businesses that you've suggested. I definitely want to add something into that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you would, if anyone is open to putting it in the initial vision opening
Where
here.
you suggest it would.
So commercial districts to say vibrant, walkable, aesthetically pleasing commercial districts and to retain and support new commercial business for the benefit of the village. I put it in a comment. Great.
I think it might be better in the under will.
What do you mean under?
Because we've kind of had the initials.
Oh,
open.
okay.
I wonder if that would be better under the.
Well, maybe she did get mine. Did you tell her that?
What's that?
Yeah, that was one of my changes.
Yeah. Why don't we put successful, commercially successful in here in the first sentence
Sure.
and then
Mhm.
add something very specific
Yeah,
down.
it is very specific
I
in
understand
terms
you're saying
of,
walk away.
right,
Oh, aesthetically pleasing, commercially
And you
successful.
can't, you can't share because you'll block out the people.
oh, you can see it on my screen, here, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just successful.
Commercially.
We're adding the successful after aesthetically pleasing, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
For the purpose of saying like commercially successful. You see it over there? Okay, successful commercial districts. And then I also do want to be clear below that we want to support current businesses. Absolutely. If that's not clear, we need to make that clear.
They,
The ratings that the,
22
sorry,
years,
go ahead.
almost 23 over here. We have a long way to go to get people not to believe that we're going to beat them down and not want business. Everybody believes the Village of Lansing does not want business, does not want anybody on trip ever, does not want help. Coming from a business and talking to people, then it's like, yeah, we're never going to do anything. The letting McDonald's have the, the da-da-da, and the people have approached and been slapped down. This isn't this committee we have now. It was when I first got here, it was a rougher committee. They read things as they saw them, didn't listen to what the commercial person saw when they read it. So I think we're going to be better at listening, which will really make a big difference. But how we're going to draw people in when all that negative is attached to us?
We're going to work towards improving our reputation.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's the Village of Lansing, I think that's very much so in general, if you're in Ithaca, if you're in town of Lansing with business versus planning boards. I think it's an issue across the board, but if the village could stand out and be different in their support of businesses, it would be,
It can be a beautiful place. The
Yeah.
village, we said, the village is just amazing.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never had a problem. I've always said, that. Never had a problem with any of them. Maybe not that in the beginning.
Okay, so, the next comment. I think I want to just add a clause, retain and support new commercial business within our,
Okay.
no, that doesn't make sense. We will.
Okay, so where are we
We
at?
will.
I could say we will, and I think I have some
And
language
there's just
down
will,
here.
oh, but you got rid of Foster.
That doesn't make sense. Oh, I changed foster. Yeah, you want to create, that's fine. Doesn't make sense, actually.
And we have in mind how we're gonna do some of these things, right?
Like, we could say something like, we will place a strong emphasis on supporting and retaining existing business in addition to attracting new business. I guess that's just what I wrote, but, and then my other note here was maybe including something about encouraging high quality, but also flexible commercial development so that the village can maintain its character, but also respond to the changing needs and dynamics
Of today.
of today.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And some of that really is through AI and the website. A lot of today's people zip right to their website immediately. They go right to AI. They go into ChatGPT. They go into all the stuff but they are looking at the website, which is usable, but isn't
There were
great usable.
No, it isn't. There.
Because I have trouble with it and I do
I
things.
do too. I have trouble
Yeah.
finding this.
And,
I've only been with you.
So if our website were maybe more simple,
I believe that.
simplified.
So we are redoing the website.
We are redoing.
We are currently looking to, our website is 20 years out of date and then looks it. We are currently looking at companies that specialize in municipal websites. And the village will have a new municipal website. And one of the objectives of that website will absolutely have a section in businesses, like you need the form, it's right here. If you need the information, it's right here. That's gonna be a big focus of the new website.
And they should definitely be tagging businesses so that the business, when somebody looks at Crystal Spa and Salon, Village of Lansing comes up on the side. When you look at the Village of Lansing, Crystal Spa and Salon.
Oh, no, actually, you can't, as a municipality, there's some restriction. You cannot be seen to, however,
However, I can,
there, oh, yeah.
from mine.
Oh, yeah, you
So
can.
we would encourage businesses to tag us on their.
Now we can do.
That, yes, but we can't, because if anything should ever happen, it's always about liability. So just be aware of that. That's what I'm saying. There's some things that we just cannot do.
Okay.
We might want to, but we shouldn't.
Okay.
Because somebody's had trouble somewhere, but.
Go ahead.
Rob Montana.
Yeah, I just had something I wanted to say. I was thinking about some of the wording, like in the vision, successful, like I'm kind of okay with that in terms of like what's the definition of success?
Yeah.
Similar to like in some of the wills, it's talking about like high quality, flexible commercial development. What does high quality mean?
Yeah.
The same thing as like high quality employment opportunities. I think when you have things in there like that, it's like what's the definition of high quality? So that's something we should think about when we have.
Making this as concrete as possible is beneficial. So if anyone has suggested language, I'm happy to make changes.
I was like, we can't just do this today, all of this. This is the point. You can't just whip this stuff. It really gets to be very important.
Well, we're gonna make these changes and then, people can contemplate it. And then when we're ready to send it to the trustees and say, this is our vision statement. It's not like anyone has to formally adopt anything. We don't need a resolution here. This is just our vision statement.
Okay, so it's the third bullet we're having a little more struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just take out high quality, like encouraging flexible commercial development, I think that's fine. Same with like if you take out high quality, just because it's like
Okay.
one person's definition of high quality is different than another.
Yeah, that was definitely something that came across when we did a comprehensive plan. People did not want those vague terms in there. So I get that. That's fine.
Those are the only kind of feedback things. Like successful, I think that's fine to have in there because, but because it's like the vision mission, but in some of those like bullets, I think it's better to have less of those sort of descriptors that are.
So support economic development that provides employment opportunities? No, that's not the one we're on. Oh, yes, just you got rid of high quality, okay.
What about the living wage and benefits? We have the right as this community to tell Crystal Spa Salon what to pay somebody and that I have to give them benefits? I thought that was like a New York State thing.
Sorry, what's your question?
At the end of this, it says,
The living wages.
opportunities with living wages and benefits. We as this, we can tell,
Where is that?
That's the third, on the third, fourth bill.
Fourth bullet.
fourth one. Because I think that sounds like we have a lot of power. If we can say, hey, McDonald's, you better be paying a living wage and giving everybody that works 30 hours a week, this, I thought that was New York State, not us.
Well, there's minimum wage and there's living wage.
So the suggestion is what?
Support economic development provides employment opportunities.
I mean, this is just a goal for the village that we have jobs in the village that provide people with a livelihood. It's not.
That's a great answer right there. That way you're not telling a business when they come in, you have to do this. 'Cause
Yeah, I guess the term.
when they start out,
Benefits.
cannot afford living wage.
Right.
And then they'll give people part-time so they don't have to pay it, then that makes it hard. And sometimes when businesses just starting out, they can't even pay for the people's unemployment or health insurance. So they have to go through a different program.
That's not how you build livelihood, is it?
Yeah. I just don't want to discourage businesses because we're telling them right off the bat, you're gonna pay more for this, you gotta pay more for that, this,
It's still livelihood.
You had it?
I could,
Really? You're
there
looking,
you go. Liveli,
that looks weird.
not lid.
There we go.
No, there you go.
That still looks weird to me, but that's okay.
Support
lot of
economic
vowels.
development that provides employees a livelihood.
Actually liked it better how it was.
I mean, living wages and benefits.
That provides employment opportunities. Oh, wait a minute, the support. It was
still.
It didn't provide, it was, you want employment opportunities still to keep in there, I think.
A variety of employment opportunities, support economic development that provide.
So what's the goal here? What's the goal with this one? You want to support economic development that provides opportunities for people living in Lansing to live and work there, or just employment opportunities in the village? Like, that's my question. What's the goal for this?
I mean, this is a comprehensive plan goal to provide economic opportunities with living wages and benefits. So that's really what it was. But if folks aren't comfortable with that, we can work around something else.
So to me, it's not saying they have to provide a living wage. It's saying that this committee is going to support development that provides opportunities that with living wages and benefits. It's not requiring it. It's just saying this, we're trying to support development that provides these kind of employment opportunities that can come with living wages and benefits. But we're not going to say you can't open here because you're not going to pay a living wage or you have to pay a living wage. There's not.
But as a newcomer, are they going to read it that way? That can be read both ways. As a newcomer, if I'm
Sure.
coming into the village and I'm starting to do this and I'm reading the paperwork you're handing, and you say, I have to start you at such and such, hairdressers start out at 50-50 salary. Okay, you get 50% of what you make, depending on how long you've been doing it. So they don't start out with a living wage. They earn it by their quality. Okay? So if
Why
I
don't we
Sure.
do now, including those?
So if I were to have read that the first time, I probably never would have bought that building.
I'm just gonna
I would have.
between those, so it's a variety of opportunities, including those that provide a living wage and benefits. Okay.
Sure.
Does anyone else have any further comments?
On that one?
Just in general?
You mean about this point or
No, we don't.
On the document?
This is friendly.
the living wage part? Or?
Well, there's no other comments to discuss in the Google Doc. So I'm just looking for oral feedback.
Let's see, actually, a lot of this is exactly what I had to ensure that also changes.
Well, could I just ask, is the living wages and benefits phrase sort of a charged phrase for the business community?
I didn't hear his
Say
word.
again.
Yes, it is, yeah, I think
Say
it is.
again.
Okay, so I'm sensing that, I hear that, I believe it to be so. And I mean, a living wage is, one reads about it generally, sort of an elusive goal.
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm not sure if everyone coming in here with a business, a small business, whatever, feels comfortable with being charged to pay a living wage, however that gets defined.
Yeah,
Because it's more than a minimum wage, it's more than what you minimum wage plus or whatever. And so, but you guys, this was an important phrase to put in there as being something that is desirable.
Yeah, I
Let's mull it over and people should put their comments on this in the document.
because I do think,
It's not written in stone, but
but I think to Crystal's point is, and certainly we saw this in the planning board, even when it is pretty very clear and cut and dried, people will take a different meaning from it, even though, and maybe, especially if it's a concern to you, you're gonna see that and you're gonna, oh my God, I'm not gonna, yeah. I think, this is part of listening to our commercial
so
people.
you guys just want to take it out? Is it?
How about some of the other businesses? What do you think?
Just leave it at variety of employment opportunities?
rid of it would great.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's our perception of our reality.
Okay,
Your perception is our.
Check it out.
The business, so it's crazy.
okay.
I think it's a pretty hot topic in the area, so.
I mean, everybody.
So what would we have left then if it's what Spencer is saying, if we take out, if high quality is too vague?
So this is how it reads now.
I'm not gonna bring my computer.
I know my screen is cracked.
I think
I said last time I tried.
I just took out the living wage bit. That was at the end of the first bullet.
I mean, honestly, that strikes me as being pretty
Benign.
anodyne. Yeah,
Mhm.
why say it?
We want to look friendly and approachable. I mean, that is what we're trying to do, look friendly and approachable, and that's where we get farther.
Okay.
It needs something else.
Which one are you on, guys?
They're still on the.
Desirable. Opportunities, it needs
So we
something.
had high quality and that was taken out as vague. So now we just have variety.
Your idea of high quality and mine might be very. So
Desirable.
objective.
What, and I think what
Standpoint
I
of the
mentioned
perspective.
behind high quality was that you can still require certain types of businesses that fit the desired needs of the village of Lansing in terms of traffic, in terms of what the use is of the business. So a higher caliber, higher quality, but I agree at taking it out because that is not you can't define it and people will read it in a different way, but that's just what my thought was in terms of using that language was requiring some level of business or some type of business that meets the needs of the village, but also being flexible in that because
I
of the
think,
changing landscape.
I think that we might get to that a bit so the planning board is reviewing the whole code and we have been going, well, I'm no longer on, but we've been going through each topic and saying, should this be allowed in this district?
Sure.
So some of the uses are changing.
Yeah.
And for example, one of the things we talked about is some of these pop up like the circus and stuff. Do we still want these things in our village? And so that's being addressed by the planning board at the moment, but it's not done, including mixed use, for example, which isn't allowed in a lot of the districts. That's one of the things that's changed over the past 30 years.
Yeah.
So some of this may be addressed by that. Plus the special permit process
Yeah.
does have limitations.
Yeah, I have found personally that it has been restrictive.
Okay.
So we have this building right next door here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2415 North Trip Hammer, we're commercial, low traffic.
Yep.
And I have found that our use in CLT feels restrictive to what tenants I can bring into the business, to the building. And although there is a special permitting process, it scares some tenants away. They don't want to have to go through the process of working with a town. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of money. They don't have time for it. They need to put their business, get set up somewhere and get moving. And the unknown of being somewhere and then having the village or the town come to you and say, this isn't an authorized use, you've got to go. It's too big a risk. So
Oh, yeah.
I have found it to be restrictive.
You know what I think is funny, and Mike, maybe see if you agree with this? The term special permit makes it seem like it's an exception,
Absolutely.
and actually it's not. A special permit is just the permit required. I wonder if the name is part of this.
For the industry, there's.
I know it's the industry name, but it's really just the permit. This is like when I was first a lawyer, when I was a young lawyer, you have to notice a motion. That's the motion. But the phrase notice a motion would kind of throw me. I'm like, what does this noticing mean? It's actually just moving. And the terminology just like threw me off for my first year. I was like, what is this noticing?
Well, the special permit implies
It's special.
it's the exception, not the rule.
Exactly.
And you're saying it's the rule.
The word special
just
is
check.
is the problem, not the permit.
As an example, if I can give a quick example, so I had a tenant looking at our warehouse space and technically they're a distributor. They're a fulfillment center. They get products in and they ship them out.
Mhm.
In CLT, it specifically says in the code, fulfillment center, distribution center, not allowed. In reality, what they're doing is they are getting product in and shipping it out. They're shipping it out via UPS, FedEx, and USPS. They don't have LTL trucks coming through the building. The business we had there before, they did some light manufacturing and they sold and shipped that product via UPS, USPS, and FedEx. The traffic would not change in the village. The use of the building would not change. Nothing would change. But because in the code it says that's not allowed, we couldn't put them there. So, and they weren't interested in going through the process to get a permit. So it's been interesting to me seeing how.
Yeah.
Great feedback.
Good
Take the word
feedback.
special out and make the Village of Lansing kind of unique unto itself, which is what we're trying to do.
Well, I think, yes, we have to, it's good to think about some of this stuff, but this goes to a different level, but it's basically the special permit simply means that, our code officer can't just give you a building permit or something, because he has a lot of, leeway but what it means that it just has to go through some sort of review process. So I don't know, but it's great feedback. This is the kind of. stuff
Yeah.
that happens.
So we only have 15 minutes. Actually, no, we have 20 minutes. I wanted to tell you guys that we're gonna end at 11:55 because the trustees meeting starts at noon. When I first scheduled these meetings, I thought it was the second week would always be the trustees meeting, but because the trustee meeting falls, basically the calendar moves. It's gonna be this week, the other week, this week, the other week, and it happens to fall this week. So I just wanted to clear out at 11:55 rather than 12. And so we have the vision statement still available to everybody as a Google Doc. We've made some changes to it. I'd like to invite everybody to review it again and provide your feedback again, and hopefully we'll nail it next time. But if we need to have more discussion, that's okay too. So you'll see it as we've edited it, or you can go back to the history if you want to see how it was before. And please make comments right onto it like you did this week. And we're going to move on to Mike and Lisa talking about the code in general and then some of the code changes.
So I'll answer your other question first. It's called a special permit or special use permit. Those are the two things that municipalities use. That's a statewide thing. It's nothing that the village came up with. And it's called a special permit because the very same thing that I think maybe Lisa said, right? It's special because it's not something that's automatically permitted. So that's why it's special. You have to meet stuff that's in the code, then you get the special permit. So that's why it's called special, because it's just not an automatic. I'm going to come in, I'm going to give you my $50, I'm going to get a building permit, or I'm going to get something else. That's where the term comes from. But yeah, I am going to share my screen. Let me pull this up, only really for the people online, because I'm going to show the map first. And everybody in the room, if you look behind Lisa, you'll see the gigantic map on the wall. So, but let me share this really quick. If you haven't seen it, you can get to all of this that I'm going to show you from the village website, by the way. The maps are under village area maps. And then when I start to talk about the code, the specific one really is 145 that we're going to kind of focus on, but they're all here. So if you're not familiar with, it sounds like everyone's really familiar with zoning anyway in the village, but this is what the map currently looks like. And this is the most up-to-date one. It just changed, couple weeks ago because we did change. The planning board made a recommendation to change a couple buildings and how they were zoned. But This is how it looks. It really is, one of the kind of driving forces, and Lisa, if you want to chime in about it, or anybody who's been in the village long enough, one of the driving forces really between the commercial areas and residential is we kind of have this step up or step down or buffering that we talk about, right? You don't want a, low density residential, like a single family house right next to the mall. So that's why you see these colors kind of change. We'll step down from, high traffic to medium traffic to low traffic. The same thing kind of happens out in those residential districts. So this is really just if you haven't seen it before, there's a couple gray areas too, by the way. Those are the two PDAs that we have in the village. So that Shannon Park, that's an older PDA. And then there's the one here off Oak Crest where BJ's in those few multi-unit houses are down there. So does anyone have questions about this before we actually get into talking about the chart of uses and code and things like that?
I have a question about, do you tell the businesses? You said you've just changed a few of them. Did you let the business know ahead of time you were changing it?
Yep. So the ones that were impacted in this case, they definitely knew about it.
And I have a question with that. When you are changing zoning, are they required to, like, are you grandfathered in if your business is existing, or how does it impact what's already there?
Yeah, so, and that's a great question for Mike. You are grandfathered in. What it becomes at that point is a non-conforming use. So if you want to come in and get a chain, say that you needed to come in for something that was a special permit, I think that I don't think that you can at that point. And we're very, very cautious about it when we do it, to try to avoid those situations. I think there's actually only one non-conforming lot in the village. And I think when we are done with what we're proposing and the changes to the chart of uses, that will become a conforming use where it is. So there will be no non-conforming lots in the village. Everything will be up to code, I guess, or whatever. So, but yeah, you get to keep what you're doing there. If we change it, if we said, sorry, this is, medium density residential now, and you have high density on there, you can keep it until you need to come in and do something. And then you have to have a discussion with Mike about that.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I understood. So it is grandfathered in until you're changing the use. Got it. Okay.
Yep. Yep. We don't say, we want say McDonald's, sorry, that's a residential lot. Now you have to shut down. Now you get to keep being McDonald's there. Anything you want to add, Lisa, about the map?
No, it's just, I haven't been attending for 2 months now, and it's lots of things are going fast, but no, the main things that were changed were the business and technology, which, yes, was discussed, as she said, with Cornell, and went through. In fact, we wanted more uses there than they did ask for, because we think, a theater could really go there. Why not?
They were cautious. We wanted to add pretty much everything that we could. Almost all of the allowed uses in the village, we were asked them, what about this? What about that? And they, what about a pharmacy? What about housing? It's too bad they are too close to the airport really to have housing, because there's a federal law about how far you can be from a runway. But we wanted to add almost everything, and they added 90% of our recommendations.
Yes. So, but to your point is, it would be important that if we're going to make major changes, I don't think there's any things that we're taking away that.
Jody has a comment. If for those of you who don't know, Jody Day, our clerk.
So just to let you know, a history of changing the zoning. Maybe it's been changed 3 times in the 30 years I've been here. And the last change was pretty much to bring non-conforming uses into conformance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it only made sense. So, like if you're going, wait a minute, I'm changing zoning, it doesn't happen very often. So.
Yes, grandfather, we used to have a kennel down here.
Yeah.
And it's fine until they sold, and then, okay, now it goes away.
I couldn't figure out where kennel was also in the
Well,
chart.
yeah,
Because
kennel,
I had a kennel approach me and I'm like, I guarantee that's not allowed, but it wasn't specified in the chart of uses.
Which means you gotta ask.
Got it. Okay.
But it would be specified, and that was one of the things, because you do not want the noise of.
I
feeding
didn't
time
think you'd want it.
And all these things, so that's right. But that was one of the ones that came up. There's some very crazy things in our code that when you start looking at it, you go, really? What in heaven's name do you suppose they were thinking? But I mean, Kennel wasn't one of them. There were, you know, it was way more rural than it is now. We have definitely changed. And in fact, we made, in my time on the board, gone from CLT here to CMT because it made sense. And in fact, I think McDonald's used to be not because it was CLT, but you know, I mean, it's a commercial area. This is commercial. There's no houses. We're not going to bother anybody really. So no, the planning board, I think, tries to be very thoughtful, but certainly if a business feels they might be impacted, and I don't know, maybe this would be a matter of saying, you know, we're telling all businesses we're doing a code review, so please check whether you're on the agenda. I don't know, because we would have welcomed input.
Mike, what's the one non-conforming building? Is it McDonald's?
No, not anymore.
Yes, I think it is still.
Wow.
No,
No, I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. I think I thought it was the one out on,
Is it the bus station?
it's the transportation bus,
Bus station.
yeah.
Fourth out.
Martel.
Yep, thank you, that's it. Okay, so I do want to move on just because I know we only have a little bit, because I know Carolyn, you've got to get to the trustee meeting. So, and what Lisa said is the perfect segue into code. So, and what Jody mentioned too. So a lot of the zoning code that we focus on is in 145. And again, that's available on the website here. There's all kinds of stuff, but 145 is the big one that the planning board works with. And inside here, as we've been going through reviewing, you know, kind of allowed uses in the various zones around the village, there's really three places that we've been focusing on in here. So there's terms defined, which is at the pretty much the beginning of it, and it is, as you imagine, it is terms. And then there is 14580, which is, or maybe 60, 14580, I think. No, I'm wrong. I'm just going to type the chart of uses. 145.38, no, 145.81, sorry. So when you get down to 145.81, here is the chart. This is what we've been reviewing. This has all the uses that are allowed in the village, and then the districts that they're allowed in. And then underneath that is where you start seeing definitions of what those kind of uses are. So if somebody says, I want an indoor rec club, okay, here's the definition of an indoor rec club. And it's up to Mike Scott, the code enforcement officer, when somebody comes in and says, I want to do this thing, it's Mike's determination of what that is. Indoor rec club versus outdoor rec club versus, you know, something else. So he's the one that gets to decide what that is. So we've been going through and recommending some changes to either add things to the add uses to the some new uses altogether, like data center, even though that one's a moot point right now because Governor Hochul signed a moratorium yesterday, I think. So that one's off the table for now, but we're still going to work to get a definition in there for it. But making sure everything has a definition, because some of these uses don't even have definitions in our code. Some of them are older, like if you look down here where it says theater, nightclub, or discotheque, we're going to take the word discotheque out of there and just simplify it. But so that's kind of what we've been reviewing, and this hasn't been released yet to, you know, and really what we're doing is we're making recommendations to the trustee. The planning board doesn't get to make the change. We've gone through, we'll make recommendations. We've got a ton of documentation to go with all these things. But we meet with the trustees, go over our proposals, and then ultimately they determine, yes, we want to make all of these, some of these, none of these, whatever. But so this is a very confusing chart, but this is kind of what we're working on. We're making sure that things have definitions. We're getting rid of some old stuff. Kennel is a question in here because that is in the code, referenced in various places, but it's not an actual allowed use anywhere. So figuring out what to do with that. There's a lot of work we've been doing around medical type things, like a clinic versus a hospital versus a medical lab. We've put some new ones in here for dispensaries like cannabis. We talked about if there's other dispensaries that might need to be in here. Drug and alcohol treatment center, we don't have a use for that. So we're defining that better. And a lot of that is to make when people come into the village, and Mike, when somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to do this thing, a lot easier for them to do their job. Okay, it's, if you came in and said, I want to open up a drug and alcohol treatment center, that's a really gray area right now. Is it a clinic? Is it a hospital? Is it a medical thing? So really defining those things to make, if you want to come in and do something in the village, here's what it is, making it easier. So, and just cleaning some stuff up too. There's some things that we're getting rid of because they're covered elsewhere in the code. There are some things that we are, just removing entirely. There was a use in there specifically for non-conforming lots. That was put in here when McDonald's was built where it is now, and that's just not needed anymore because of other code changes that have happened. And cleaning some stuff up to make it a little friendlier to read. Like we're going to put all the residential. I have another sheet over here. We're going to put all the residential ones together. So if you want to come in and do something residential in the district, you don't have to figure out if it's 1 unit, 2 unit, multi-unit. Just look under residential. They're all there. Same with sales and things like that. But that's kind of where we are. There are some things we want to remove, some uses. There's a lot that we want to add. And then Carolyn mentioned business and technology and HHS. Those are the two things, K&M there, that her and I worked with the Cordell Business and Technology Park on getting those up to date. So those things that you see that are yellow are actually already made in the code changes. But they're captured here on the sheet because it's kind of what we're doing to change stuff.
More broadly is, it's been over a year of a process of the planning board looking at the current uses, what needs defining, what is no longer relevant, and what needs clarifying. When they're completely finished with their evaluation, it goes to the Board of Trustees. And if the Board of Trustees want to make a change to the code, there has to be a motion, it has to be published, the public, we have to have a public, blanking on the word.
Public hearing.
Public hearing.
There you go.
A public hearing, and we usually leave those open for an extended period of time, so there could be any kind of comments. But I think what you'll find is that these changes are clarifying and will be more helpful because our code it's the antiquated aspects of our code that we're trying to modernize.
Does this group have any involvement in
Well,
providing
I was just
feedback
gonna
on
say,
this?
at some point now that we're talking about this, and we should maybe take this offline, but yes, maybe we should, or actually, at some point, maybe the businesses should be notified with
Well,
all businesses.
what we could do is when the
For communication.
planning board is ready to go to the Board of Trustees, share it here
Yes.
and see if there's any feedback. I think that probably most of the changes will be favorably looked upon because they are dealing with things that are no longer relevant or cleaning up areas of the code that are contradictory, and it's more of that nature.
But
But of course, if there's something, the more eyes that are willing to look at these kind of things, it's helpful.
Maybe we should, yeah, or maybe we could even see whether before it gets to even that stage, because then,
Well, the trustees don't have to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. They can wait and see if
Yes.
the group wants to make any kind of comments. I
but
mean,
I mean,
if that's of interest.
some time to assimilate, if we really had some things that really came up, they would need some time to think about it, because it takes this is not as easy, your first instinct, and then you second, yeah, but what about? I mean, it's like.
It's tricky. One change,
You're never.
triggers another change. The definitions are very nuanced. You have to look at a lot of different options.
Aspects that we aren't aware of, but our legal counsel says, no, that's not going to protect us as a village. So, but yeah, I think to your point, I was thinking the same thing, is before it gets to the trustees, we should get some input from some of our business partners.
Sure. That sounds like a good
I
idea.
think it's great to hear about that, but I think it's worth it. Absolutely.
So are there any general code questions that we can answer in a minute or two as we wrap up? Okay, so then I will say for our next meeting, we will have an update on what the Design Connect Studio is proposing. We'll know more about that and how this group can become involved in that. Hopefully, we can get all the final comments on our vision statement and conclude that, because I think of that more as a general document, not like a written in stone kind of law of how we proceed.
Important.
It is definitely important, but it also, you know, it doesn't have to be everything that defines us. And then we can, you know, we can either start looking at the guidelines themselves, or we can start talking about the code changes depending on what would be of most interest, and people can feel free to email me with what they'd like to see us discuss at the next meeting. Thanks, everybody. I will have minutes for you from this meeting and the next, prior to the next one. The last, not the next. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Mike, I forget where you're from, but
Thank
man,
you.
you talk fast. You know, I'm a New Yorker, but you kind of blew me away.
I only had a few minutes to go over it, so I wanted to make sure I got the words out. But
It was
also,
just the time constraints.
if anyone does have any questions about any code changes or processes or stuff like that, just, you can email me and I can, you know, we can talk
Yeah,
offline.
we have to Steve, Mike.
I have some questions, Mike. I'm definitely gonna get your contact
that's right
info
on.
and I'll send you some email. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I didn't record.
What?
Sugar. I better press record.
I don't feel so bad that I don't do Google Docs then.
Oh, wait, stop recording.